Hello, and welcome. Silrace here with Fallout 4. And I want to talk about the true survival mode which is being implemented into the game. I have now spent quite a number of hours playing it, testing it out, all that good stuff. And I want to put some of my thoughts, my opinions out there, the things which I think are being essentially needs tweaking still. But two things before I get to that. Firstly, I completely and utterly forgot to record any of my play, so all the background footage is from the current survival mode, not from the upcoming one. So yeah, there is that. And another thing is big, massive shout out to the modding community. Thank you very much, because you folks, all the modders out there, you make these games worth playing so very much. Honestly, I still believe that the developers' time for Fallout 4 would have been better spent doing something else and left the difficulty modifications up to the modding community to come up with and make. However, since this is now coming out anyway, let's talk about that. The two main problems I currently have with the game are essentially the complete and utter lack of fast travel and the way the save system now works. Save system, well, if you want to roleplay at all, it is complete and utter immersion breaking, because you, the player, do the saving and your character does sleeping. And how is your character some kind of a person who needs to sleep every 15 minutes, essentially? That seems very badly done. Not good at all with the way that is implemented currently, because as I mentioned, it is very much a immersion breaking, but also because it essentially forces you to do settlement building, to actually have access to various beds for yourself all across the map. No longer can you call settlements optional. They are not. They are no longer optional. You are kind of forced into them. And I understand very well that not everybody is into the settlement building. I personally quite like it, but not everybody is into it. And for that reason, this is going to suck for those who are not into it, but would love to play the system otherwise. The immersion breaking is still the killer here. Anyway, another thing about fast travel. I'm going to try to keep this video kind of short here in the end. So, fast travel being removed to me is a bad thing. Because firstly, the game is buggy. Let's be honest about that. The game still has bugs and glitches in it, which sometimes the only way to solve those bugs and glitches is to actually fast travel. And now since fast travel is locked away from the player, you cannot do this. You cannot warp certain characters around or whatever by fast traveling. Instead, now you're hoping that the game can do that, or then you have to learn to use console to actually fix those issues using console commands. This is a bad thing. Because of if the game was completely bug-free, which no game can ever truly be, a game this big and complex, then yeah, I could see the removal of fast travel. Also, fast travel just happens to be one of those things I personally play without it, even though there is the option to do it. Some people really love it, and some people really don't. And if you lower essentially everything down, you make everything harder to the player, and then you remove fast travel. On top of that, you're very much forcing players to do, a whole lot of metagaming. Essentially, using knowledge your character would not have, which breaks immersion very much, to do things such as, for example, knowing which enemies you have faced already in which areas, all that stuff. Which is not so awesome. And yeah. Granted, it's going to be a bit more difficult to build up your settlements as well, because hoarding loot and bringing it all over the place is going to be more difficult. And I kind of like that. I kind of like many of the aspects they are doing with the diseases and all that stuff. I still ran around with my test character pumping jet into, well, inhaling jet essentially all the damn time. It wasn't a big issue as soon as you got your stuff settled. And as I mentioned, I play without fast traveling to begin with, so I was completely and utterly used to not fast traveling, so it wasn't an issue to me. I knew exactly where to go, which routes to take, all that good stuff. But still, I believe fast travel needs to be added back, so that when you encounter bugs and glitches, you can fix them. And the save system through sleeping, there needs to be something done with that. Like, it just needs to be tweaked in a certain way. For example, making the game autosave more often or whatever, what have you, to essentially deal with that situation. Also, I do have to mention that removing fast travel from the game when you have a location which can only be reached by fast traveling. That seems really, really counterintuitive to me, to begin with. That's how, as far as spoilers can go, but, so there is a location you can only fast travel to and from. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, for listening. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me, that's up to you. This is just my view on it at the moment. I didn't find it all that much more difficult, but that's partially because I already play these games on kinda, well, self-imposed restrictions and all that good stuff.
What was that?
Thank you very much for watching and listening.